Well, get ready to set sail on the 7 seas, because old school RuneScape's newest skill is officially coming to the game. But did you know that sailing has been a part of RuneScape history for over a decade and a half to be precise. The story starts in July 2008, prior to the release of old school RuneScape. Rumors of a new skill were rampant, and sailing was the name on everyone's lips. But why sailing? Well, because unreleased pictures of the skill were mysteriously revealed, and that sparked a plethora of questions and fueled an immense amount of hype. There was only one problem with these pictures, and most people on the internet are probably familiar with this problem. They were fake. Yep, the new skill that we're all about to embark on started from a prank. Naturally, this hoax became a huge joke in the community, not only by players but also by Jagex moderators. Fast forward to April 1, 2014, and Jagex made a huge announcement. To the disbelief of players, the sailing skill was finally released. Players were shocked to find a news post that detailed the release of sailing. It said that players were able to visit the Eastern Lands by speaking to Captain Ememji, south of Draenor. Players quickly raced to the captain and realized they could actually set sail. The hype was real. But some of you probably picked up on the date of this release, April 1, also known as April Fool's Day. Players who started training this skill found that they only ended up on one island, and they could only earn a total of 5,000 sailing experience. Attempting to earn more experience resulted in the skill resetting to level 1 with 0 experience, accompanied with the chat box message #### critical error %sailing _XP memory overflow resetting to safe state. This meant players could not reach further than level 20. Although it was a prank, this skill was actually quite well thought out, considering the amount of dev time that was probably allocated to it. Players could pick from 3 types of boats. The small boat at level 1, which granted 100 experience per use. The long boat at level 5, which granted 180 experience per use. And the wide boat at level 12, which granted 240 experience per use. There was a single island to travel to, which was supposedly part of the Eastern Lands, but was actually part of the water altar. And the sailing skilling interface was hilarious. At level 99, players were apparently able to use skill capes as sails, and they could board an assassin pirate god ship. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna be extremely disappointed if I don't get my assassin pirate god ship. Well, what if this April Fool's Day was actually a test? Let's skip forward to the year 2015. In August, players were hit with an actual proposal for sailing in a dev blog. The skill would consist of 3 main activities: shipbuilding, navigation, and exploration, and was said to be available to free-to-play. The details of the skill were expanded upon further by 3 development blogs and a trailer.
It's time to poll whether you'd like to see sailing as a skill in the game. So let's review the facts. Sailing will be trained through exploration, navigation, and shipbuilding. However, the fastest experience rates will not come from shipbuilding, but instead taken to the sea and exploring. Sailing will unlock new areas and experiences around the world of old school RuneScape, such as the mysterious gemstone caverns of Atlantis, you'll get to meet the mermaids of Charlatania, and travel to Fossil Island with the Varrock Museum expedition.
Examples included creating ships using different logs at various ports, such as Port Sarim and Port Khazad. Players were also able to outfit their ships with different tiers of cannons, using different metals. These cannons would be used in PvP scenarios, similar to the wilderness. And of course, just like with the current proposal, players would be able to explore new islands, which could only be reached with the sailing skill. Once again, the player base was hyped, but also divided. See, at the time, old school RuneScape players were extremely wary of new updates to the game. And I mean, you can't really blame them. The entire reason Old School was released and so successful is because many players believed the first game was destroyed by terrible updates. And so the players took to the polls. Players were asked to vote for or against the inclusion of a new sailing skill. The poll ran for 6 days in September of 2015, resulting in a 68% yes to 32% no vote, which failed to reach the 75% required at the time for implementation. And once again, the players had to put away their captain's hats. The skill was not coming to the game, and it stayed that way for 8 long years. Until one morning in March of 2023, Players were once again proposed a sailing skill, but this time it was alongside two other potential skills, those being taming and shamanism. Once again, Jagex sold the players their idea for sailing, a way to explore and travel across the oceans on their own ship. But players were split. Sailing sounded great, but what about taming? And especially, what about shamanism? This is when it all took a turn. A wildcard skill pitch flipped the community upside down. Shamanism was the name on everyone's lips. Angry pirates ready to sail the seas raised their hook hands against the shamans destined for the spirit world. Oh, and there were also some who totally just wanted to tame some animal bros to chill with. But back to shamanism. The skill was sailing's fiercest foe yet. Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube were plagued with debates about the skills, but finally it fell to the polls. Of the three proposed skills, the sailing pitch won with 36% favor, trailed closely behind by shamanism at 33%. But the battle wasn't over yet. This only meant sailing would be refined further. It was go time for Jagex. They worked tirelessly on community consultation, live streams, Discord servers, and promotional videos. These were all blasted to the players. Popular myths were busted, minds were changed, but the fog of doubt still remained. Until one day, in August, after the summer summit, it all went silent. A poll had been released. Among a plethora of other pitches, laid a simple question. Should sailing be added as old school RuneScape's first new skill? Community collaboration will continue throughout development in subsequent polls and betas. Nothing could be heard but 161,000 mouse clicks. And so, we waited and waited. And then we awoke. The poll results were released. Sailing had passed with 113,000 votes for and 44,000 votes against, with 4,000 skips. Sailing had finally done it. A skill almost 2 decades in the making was finally set to be introduced. But what will it look like? Thankfully, Jagex had given comprehensive details during the consultation process. Movement will look like this. Island ideas could be a bit like this. And rewards might look something like this. Not to mention new monsters to fight. And that's where we currently sit. We still have more polls and consultation in store for us in the future, but one thing is for certain, players will finally set sail across the Gillinor seas. Thanks so much for watching the video, I really hope you enjoyed. Please consider subscribing, throwing a like on there, and give me a comment. I'd like to hear from you. Alright, cheers.